what's active intelligence? That's the question we're addressing. I'm told it's about using analytics technology with data to give insights that can make the decisions that the team were just talking about. The data and AI team at BT is growing, and senior sales manager leading that is Nathan Watt. I'm looking for, here he is. Diolch yn fawr, Nathan. Croeso.
Hi there. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed it's not Nathan Watts, but Matt McCann. So apologies, I know that was the showstopper for most of us. But yeah, Nathan can't be with us today, so I've stepped into the breach. So no, quite all right. I think it was a last-minute, 24-hour ago change. So yeah, I'm going to talk you through active intelligence and what we do. I've just gone one too quick there. So again, thanks for the chance to speak to you. I've been involved in big data and data sets for the last 5-6 years, working across the UK and the US in terms of big data and connected world and how that all works. So hopefully I can give you some insights into some of the stuff that we can help with. Okay. Right, so BT Active Intelligence. So we are a part of the BT Group. We are what we create using mobile phone data is a powerful crowd-based insights to transform decision-making that solve real-world problems. So data can help a variety of us in a variety of use cases, and we've heard a number of those here today. Our data can be used and is used by a range of people, from retailers who want to know opening hours, when best to make use of their staff, through to new site locations and store locations. We also use it for insights into travel behaviour, so customer behaviours on the network rail, on the bus routes, how people get to and from places, their journey, origins and destinations. And then finally, insights into a location, so a point of interest. So if we look at a particular place, what can we tell you about that place and the people that are going to and from it? So our methods differ from some of the data capture methods that have been spoken about today. We don't use data in terms of paper and people on the side of the road to tick boxes and collect tally charts. There's a place for it, obviously, and a lot of the data collections that go on. But we use a large data set, and when I say a large data set, it's from a roughly 24 million users across the UK. We have well-defined algorithms and precise location accuracy, and when we mix all those together, what we create is a data set that not only captures a good amount of data, so it makes it a good fit for the country and when you're looking at trends, but also it's very reliable and very precise. So it helps you make those data-driven decisions. And if I just come on to the next one, I can just talk a little bit about what that data comes from. So our data comes from the EE mobile network. It's really important for me to say this right now. The data is anonymized and aggregated. So it's not a case of Big Brother's watching you. The consent is all dealt with by EE and your point of taking up the phone contract, and we use the 4G and 5G network to cover approximately a third of the adult UK population. But like I say, it is aggregated and anonymised, so we don't report on single individuals, we don't report on numbers that go below a certain number. So unless there's, for example, 10 people at a certain location, we would just say there is between 0 and 10 people. It's only over 10, to just reduce the chance of GDPR and PII issues coming back to a certain individual. But what this does give us is a really good and truly accurate reflection of what's going on in the world at any one time. And it is always on, it's 24/7. So as long as the mobile phones are on, then we get the information from that. So great to hear that there's a mobile phone chargers going on in the city centre for those running out of battery, because that keeps our stuff going. How the data set differs from a lot of the data, there's traditional mobile network data and there's GPS data. GPS data is very accurate, but it's very small sample sets. Mobile phone data, there's usually a lot of it, but again, it's not incredibly accurate. We've done a lot of work with infrastructure over the last 12 months as BT to increase our mobile network data accuracy with improvements in the infrastructure, and that's paid off. So we now see not only a large data set, but also a very accurate one, which enables greater insights into what's going on in the world. So what data do we collect? This is not an extensive or exhaustive list, I should say, but this gives you a flavour and an idea of some of the attributes that we get from the data set and some of the insights that we can then pass on to our partners and customers. So I think some of the really things to concentrate there are footfall, visitor frequency, visitor type. So I think we spoke earlier about the parking situation where people were coming to park in a particular location, but they were then spending all day because they're working there. From our data, we can start to tell you whether someone is a visitor for leisure purposes, for work purposes, or it's a home journey or an office journey. So we can start to give you some of those insights from the data and algorithms that we have. There was also mentioned earlier about active travel. So one of the things that we're working on at the moment that's coming soon is our ability to differentiate between modes of transport. Say, for example, if someone's using a car, or if someone's on a public transport network, or they're cycling or walking. So all of those things we should still soon be able to tell you with some degree of accuracy how that's going on and how that's playing out. I shall keep moving on. Okay. So the verticals that we currently work in, that we make our data available to. So we have data that's available for the government, public sector and emergency services to help with infrastructure, investment and planning. Like I've said with the transport agencies, we also work to understand every journey in the UK every day to help them understand what resources and planning needs to go in place. Retail and property, insights onto visitors. We can start to inform them about who's going where in terms of what their interests are, where they've been before, where they're going to now, again, at an aggregated level. And media and insights, and we're moving into the financial markets as well in terms of where we're able to advise people on particular real estate investment decisions. So what we make available is quite simply these sort of kind of four key things. Origin destination, so true origin destination, where someone's come from to get somewhere. Road insights, the journey they've taken, average speeds, average volumes of traffic on road segments, all those sorts of interesting things. Rail insights, so we work extensively with Network Rail. It's one of our biggest customers in terms of their ambition to make sure everybody gets home safe every day. That's one of the things that our data helps them with. If there's a particular train network or train route goes down, our data can help tell everybody at that particular location where their home locations are so they can start planning where to go. And location insights, which I think is of particular interest when we talk about smart towns, and I'll come on to how we can help with that in a second. But these are some of our customers, and you can see there's some large names up there that already make use of some of these data sets for their data-driven decisions. Of particular note there, obviously I've spoken about Network Rail. We have Greater London Authority, so GLA, take the data at the moment to help them with understand footfall in their high streets and how to improve their high streets and what goes on in them. And then obviously Transport for Wales is one of our customers as well in terms of large origins destination data that we provide them so they can help understand where their true journeys start from and not just from the stations that they get to. So one of the key things that we do is bringing the data to life. And I think this has been quite a recurring theme that I've heard already this morning, is that it's great that we've got big data and it's fantastic. A lot of our big data is you need data scientists, you need data engineers, you need a lot of cloud to take the data and store it and do all those sorts of things. It's an expensive process and it's very difficult for a lot of people to do. So what we've done and what a lot of people are doing now is try to make it a little bit more available. So in particular, not just for cities, but for towns as well. So we've created a platform that's available for people to use. And the platform is very simple. It's a search location. So by looking at an area, so today we're in Wrexham. So if we put Wrexham into the search area, this is a predefined area that we have in the system. So it just highlights a couple of areas of Wrexham. But obviously the system is designed so you can put, if you've got a very small particular high street you're looking at, you can put your own boundary box in and look at the exact area that you're looking at. And then what we can start telling you from there. So this is from the 17th of November to the 17th of December last year. And again, I'll just touch on the fact that one of the things that we spoke about was historic data and knowing what something looked like before to know what something could look like afterwards. Our data goes back about 18 months now, 12 months, 18 months, so we can start to really look at what the trends were before, so you can start making the decision about how to improve it in the future. And this just shows footfall insights over that month period. So you can see most of the peaks there are on Saturdays, so that's when they're at their busiest, with the exception there of the Christmas light switch on, which obviously brought a lot of people into the centre for that particular event. And then we can start to put these into, and again I think it was mentioned earlier, by dwell time. So how long people are staying for in your particular location. Here we've got sort of dwell times from 0 to 30 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes, 60 to 120, 120 plus. And then in that month period, how many people stayed for those particular times. Now, again, this can be broken down into days, into hours, so you can really start to drill into the data and really start to find out exactly the information that helps you with those decisions that you're looking to make. And again, it might be that, you know, you look back at particular events and, you know, what could we do to make people stay longer? How could we make it easier for them? Or a particular event didn't get away in time, and how could we increase the speed out of an event? We've also got, we can break it down into peak visiting hours, so footfall insights. So again, when you're talking about, you know, when is the best time to open? How do we, you know, make sure that the right people are on the streets at the right time in terms of policing or anything else that needs to be considered? What we've got here is a breakdown of the month and the peak visiting times in that area. So the percentage is just how many people were in that area as a whole for that month. So 1.6% of people on a Thursday at 12 o'clock for the month were in the city centre, and that's how we can look at it through there. And then we go into customer insights, and this can be really valuable for a number of things. So this one, for instance, and we talk about US contingent coming over for the football. We can see here that during the month of November, 7.6% of international visitors came from the US, and we have a breakdown of where other visitors are from. This is done, obviously, when people come into the country and go onto their local networks. This is how we get that information to use that. And again, it's aggregated and anonymised, so it's there. But you can also see at the top there that this can be split in a number of different ways. So the visitor purpose that I was speaking about earlier, so that can show you who's here for work, who's here for leisure, and what their purpose of their journey, their visit is. Income distribution, so we can start to see, again, some demographics around affluence and income, and then age and gender as well. So you can start to look at who came from a particular area, whether it's more female, more male, and what the age variance is, and how that, again, splits up between the hours and times and days. So that is a lot of the data that we can provide, and it comes through in a number of ways. And the final one here that we show is our catchment areas. So again, this is just the centre of Wrexham, and this is over the month where people came from to get to that centre. And it really can be tailored to whatever suits anybody. So if it's a month you're looking at, if it's a week, if it's an hour, and if it's a much larger location, so if the event's going on like the football and you want to know where everybody's come from, again, that becomes a much wider area and you can start to see the spread of where the things are coming. But one of the things that we are keen on is obviously making sure this data is available for everyone and is accessible by everyone. It's not just big corporate companies and tech companies and big cities that can look at it, but we've managed to drill this data down so it's available. Yes, you still need to know what to do with the data, but at least you don't need data scientists to work out what the data can tell you, and you can start to look at this from different views. If you do have the benefit of data science teams, then obviously the raw data and the source data is there for that use as well. But this just makes it more accessible and easy to use for everyone. So I know I've whizzed through that because I know it's just before lunch and everybody's keen, but I thought there might be some questions as well, because I know that this is mobile network data is usually quite an emotive subject, so I'm happy to answer any questions people have got.
So I act for a freight company,
Okay.
international freight company, and so they operate across the UK and further afield. How can you use your intelligence to inform them, perhaps, on improving their efficiency vis-a-vis logistics?
Yeah, so again, our data, when we start to talk about mobile network data in terms of routing, So we can start to use it to make smart decisions on routing throughout I've worked in the US for so long. I was so close to saying routing, and so I'm trying to be really careful. But yes, intelligence routing is one of the things that we can look at, and also the last and first mile delivery as well. So we can start to look at, when it gets to the final destination depot, where does it go from there, and how does it get there? So there's a number of things that we can do in those sorts of in those terms to help with that routing.
Thank you. Yeah, Andrew Jacobs, Welsh Government Regeneration Manager. Interested in the customer insights slide there. Can you say a little bit more about how you determine the income distribution figures from the mobile phone records, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it is taken from, because there are customers, so we know certain details about them at the start, and like I say, it is aggregated and anonymised, and consent is given to that data being used by them when they sign up to the contract. But that's effectively how we know gender, income distribution, home addresses, things like that.
And I'm not sure you'll have the answer to this, because I think I was just comparing with the information we had previously about, LoRaWAN gateways and sensors and so forth.
Yep.
But it sounds to me that this data is, in a statistical sense, much more high-powered. There's much more data, and I'm interested in, if you're trying to make a decision as to which way you might want to go. I work for One Voice Wales, which represents community and town councils, so small organisations. Then, which way you want to go, then how can you, what might be a thought process about that?
I think it's really difficult because there's a place for all the data sets. I don't think any one data set is going to give you the entire picture and answer. For example, if you're looking at a particular store, our data can give you a sort of 50 square metre accuracy. So we can tell you roughly that they went past your store. We wouldn't be able to tell you if they went into your store. So that's where other data sets become really useful, and it's very much a complementary piece. For some use cases, it might be that we can go if you look at a football stadium, for example, that's a big enough area that we can say rather definitively they were going to that location. But if you're looking at a coffee shop on the high street, we could say they went past, we could say they were in the area, we couldn't say whether they went there or not. And again, you would need between 0 and 10 people to be there, otherwise we would record someone was there, but we couldn't tell you who or how many.
I'm the trainee for the regeneration team for Gwynedd Council. We're really interested on data at the moment. What we've been talking about is the boundaries of town centres. So we're having a bit of discussion really, where is the actual boundaries for, because they vary between different departments. So you showed the slide there with a predefined border of the town centre for Wrexham. So if we wanted access to the data, could you cater for what we decide what the borders of the town centre are, or are they predefined by you, if you know what my question is?
Yeah, really good question. So we do have predefined areas in there. So most of the high streets in the UK, we have a predefined what they're for. However, effectively what we've done is split the world into a hex grid. So the whole UK is split into 50 metre square hex grids. So all you do is select the hex grids that fit into your pattern and your particular area, and that creates your boundary box for you. And you can create as many as you want and save them and name them and do all those sorts of things. So yes, if 3 or 4 people in your organisation have got a different idea of what a boundary looks like, it's perfectly capable of doing that, yeah.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt, for your time.
No problem at all.
And for taking the questions. I think the insightful questions is probably an indicator of the interest in.
Yeah, no, and happy to discuss afterwards. I'll be here for a little bit.
Yeah,
so, brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you very much.